welcome to Lovin' Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I am going to be doing some Valentine's DIYs, but these can carry over into spring because I have gone with a more of a neutral color palette, and I have also gone a little bit more with the romantic style. So these could be displayed in your home all year long, but they also give that nod to Valentine's Day. So let's jump in and get started.
For this project, I will be using these 3 picture frames from Dollar Tree. All of my supplies will be from Dollar Tree unless I let you know otherwise. I'll also be using some of this burlap trim, and I'll be using 2 packages of these decorative wreaths. I found these at my Dollar Tree store in the candle aisle. They were close to where the scented oils are. I'll be using some of this chiffon cream chalk paint. I picked this up at Walmart, and I like to store my paint in a canning jar because I hate dealing with paint can lids. I'm also going to be using 2 tumbling tower blocks. I'm going to start by removing the stand on the back of each of the frames. I'm going to be hanging this on the wall, and so this will allow it to lay flatter against the wall by removing these. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the chalk paint and I'm going to wipe the excess off on a paper towel and then just brush this over the frames. I just want to lighten them up a little bit. I really like the finish on these frames, but I do want them to be just a little bit lighter. And since I am impatient and don't want to wait for paint to dry, I'm going to use my heat tool and dry the paint on this. I do have all of my favorite crafting tools linked in the description box below, so if you're curious about what I like to use for crafting, you can check them out there. This heat tool is certainly one of my favorite tools. Now I'm going to turn 2 of the picture frames upside down, and I'm going to place my 2 little tumbling tower blocks in between as spacers just to keep this even. And then I'm going to use some of this burlap trim to attach the 2 frames together. And to do this, I'm just cutting a couple of short pieces of the trim, and then I'm going to hot glue it to the frame, just making sure everything is lined up. And because this trim will show from the front of the project, I am making sure that it is spaced about the same distance from each side, and I'm just using that inner frame as a guide. Once I have those glued together, I'm going to remove the tumbling tower blocks, and then I am going to add my 3rd frame using this same process. Next, I'm going to take 1 package of these decorative wreaths and I'm going to arrange them until I like the way that they look, just kind of putting them at different heights. And then I will take a piece of this lace ribbon and just tie it around the stems of these just to tie them together in a little bundle. I'm going to be attaching this bundle to the side of the bottom frame, and I do want the flowers to stick up so that they overlap onto that middle frame, but I'm going to trim the sticks on the bottom so that they don't hang down below the bottom edge of that bottom frame, and that way it will just look a little bit neater. So now that I have those attached to my frame, I'm going to move up to the top frame and I'm going to remove the flower off of the stick and I'm going to cut just the tops off of the little reeds, and I'm going to create just a little floral arrangement here on the corner of the frame. After After I've secured those with some hot glue, I'm going to take a little piece of that lace ribbon, I'm going to tie a knot in the center and glue that down just to embellish it and give it just that little extra touch, and also it hides those stems. And then this project is finished other than putting some pictures in it. If you are a regular subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and watching. And if you are new to my channel, thank you for clicking on this video. I do a lot of Dollar Tree DIYs and DIYs on a budget. So if you like those kinds of projects, be sure to hit that subscribe button and stick around. For my next project, I will be using this wood frame that I picked up at Dollar Tree. These are new and they're such a great size. I'll also be using this metal love sign and a few of these pink flowers. I think these are perfect for spring. I'll also be using some of that lace ribbon, as well as one of these natural wood heart stickers. And for paint, I'm going to be using this light green colored acrylic craft paint. I'm going to start by removing that twine hanger and the label off of my wood frame. I really like the wood grain in the center of this piece, so I'm going to leave that alone, but the frame itself is actually just an unfinished kind of MDF material, and so it doesn't look that great, so I'm going to paint mine this light green color. I think it's kind of got that romantic feel, but it's also perfect for spring. Once my green paint is dry, I'm going to take some of this chiffon cream chalk paint. It's the perfect color to coordinate with that love sign. And I'm going to dry brush just along the green parts of my frame. Next, I'm going to cut off that twine hanger from that love sign, and then I am going to figure out exactly where I want to position it. So I am just putting some little marks so that I know where to glue it down. I just kind of measured so that it was centered, and then I'm using some Gorilla Hot Glue to glue this down. If you want a more permanent bond, you could use some E6000 or some super glue. Now I'm going to pull a few of the little sprigs off of my flowers, and I'm going to be using just 4 pieces of this, and I'm going to do 2 on each side and just kind of space them, lay them out so that I like the way it looks, and then I'll glue those down with some hot glue as well. Next, I'm going to use my lace ribbon, and I am going to just tie a simple bow, just a regular uh, shoelace bow, and place that in the center between my flowers. And then I'm going to add a little natural wood heart on the top of that bow. And that's all I'm going to do to embellish this. At first, I just added the original jute twine hanger back onto my sign, but it didn't want to hang quite right, and so I did end up just adding my own jute twine hanger to this. For this next project, I will be using the larger ring from this package of bamboo rings. I'll also be using 2 packages of these wood curl roses. And I'll be using some of this burlap trim, as well as some of these faux pearl beads and some of the lace ribbon. If you aren't able to find the bamboo rings, you could use an embroidery hoop or even just one of the metal rings or hoops that they sometimes carry at Dollar Tree as well. I'm going to start by adding some of the crocheted lace ribbon. I'm starting with a loop and I'm just um, gluing these to the hoop, just kind of spacing them out and randomly kind of going from side to side. And you'll see here in a minute why I'm doing this, but it's basically just going to be lace loops that go in between my little wood curl roses. Next, I'm going to add those wood roses. I'm just hot gluing those on top of the lace ribbon and just kind of fitting them together, just arranging them how they want to fit naturally together. I picked up 2 packages of the wood roses for this project. That's 8 roses. However, I only used 6 while making this project. It will really just depend kind of on the size of the hoop that you use. Now I'm going to take some pieces of that burlap trim and I'm going to cut them about an inch and a half or so long and then fold them in half to make a little loop and then just hot glue them, tucking them in just here and there wherever I feel like I might need a little bit more filler. Now I'm going to take some of those faux pearl beads and just hot glue them in the center of each rose. Then to finish this off, I'm going to take a piece of the burlap trim and just create a loop hanger at the top of my wreath. This next project is super simple. I'm going to be using this love sign, and I got this actually for 50 cents at Dollar Tree just because the jute twine hanger was broken. And for this project, I'm actually going to be removing it anyway. I'll also be using this black and white checked ribbon. And I picked up these little miniature roses at Walmart, and they were very affordable, but they are perfect for this project. So I'm going to start, like I said, by removing that jute twine hanger. And I am going to leave the little eucalyptus leaves on the bottom of this. They are kind of sparse, but I just spread them out, and it's going to give a good base for adding my florals to. I don't want to use all of these roses, so I'm just going to cut off about half of them and trim them down to size and figure out exactly what I want to use to add to this project. Next, I'm going to make a bow using my black and white checked ribbon. I'm going to just make about 4 or 5 loops on each side, just as you can see here, looping it back and forth. And then I'll make a loop in the center, and then I'll tie it off using a chenille stem or a pipe cleaner, or you could use just floral wire or even a bread tie. And then I'll attach my flowers with some hot glue and attach my bow at the bottom. this next project, I will be using the heart-shaped bead wreath from Dollar Tree. If you can't find this, you can use a round one and bend it into a heart shape. I'm also going to be using just some greenery, just as kind of a vine greenery. This is some I had on hand. I think I picked it up at Hobby Lobby on sale, but you can probably find something similar at Dollar Tree. I'll also be using some little pink flowers and some pink and white craft paint. I wanted to paint my wreath in a really light pink color, which I didn't have, so I'm mixing some pink and white together. And I really did this backwards. I should have started with white and just added a very little bit of pink paint to it, but instead I started with pink and then started adding white, and I ended up with way more paint than I needed because I had to keep mixing to get a light enough pink color. But eventually I got to what I wanted, and so I'm just painting the heart using this pink paint. And since the paint dried a little bit darker, it was still just a little bit darker than I wanted it to be. So I decided to just take some of the white paint and dry brush over this lightly to tone it down a little bit more. Now that my paint is dry, I'm going to pull off the little vines from my greenery, and I am going to just start winding them around my heart. And I just secured the ends with a little bit of hot glue and then continued all the way around the heart, adding more greenery. And you can add as little or as much as you like. I went around my heart 2 times, and I left a couple of the ends of the greenery longer and hanging down in the center of my heart. And then I took just a few of those little pink flowers that I had and hung those down from the center as well. Then to make a hanger for my heart, I'm going to use a piece of thin jute twine and just thread that through the wire loop that's already there in the center of the heart and tie that off, and this project is finished. And if you don't care for the pink, you could certainly leave the beads a natural color, or you could paint them white. Leave me a comment below and let me know if you like to decorate for Valentine's Day or not. And if you do you like to use the traditional reds and pinks, or do you like the more neutral or subtle colors? Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It really helps my channel and helps other people to see this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell and set your notifications so that YouTube will notify you when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.